What's up, guys? Back again. It's been a while since my last video, but I'm back, and I want to try and get some more content out more regularly. It's right before All-Star break, so I'm gonna try and get a video out each night this week for the next night's games. It's late Sunday, early Monday morning. Right now, the games have already been finished for Sunday night's six-game slate, so I'm gonna go over the plays for Monday night's nine-game slate. I'm going to do it a little bit differently now. Uh, Going over instead of doing picks, just kind of going giving a wider overview of the slate, position by position. Hopefully, that'll be more informative. I'm going to try and keep it as concise as possible. Keep it under 10, 12 minutes, but there are a lot of plays going on tonight's slate. So let's just hop in. So point guard, most expensive player is going to be LeBron at 10-9. Good play against Phoenix, but I don't feel like we need to pay up for LeBron here. If you look at his game log, he's really only hit good value at this price tag once in the last six games and really twice in the last 10 games. So you really can't count on him for 60 plus here. I'd rather pay down at this position. And point guard is, I think, the deepest position in tonight's slate. So there are definitely a bunch of other ways you can go um, down here. So you have Trey Young at 10-1. Uh, Definitely viable. Not the best matchup, but he's just been slaying when he's healthy. 70 plus in two of the last five. Uh, 64 against Minnesota. He had 50. Against Boston. I mean, he gets so many minutes in this offense, and he's the focal point of this offense. 50 really is his floor. What if he gets his full amount of minutes in any given game? If it's not a blowout, even if it is a blowout, he does get pretty solid run. He doesn't lose too many minutes. Again, I'm not sure. There are other pay up spots here. There's a lot of value down lower in the point guard position, so I'm not necessarily going to go all the way up to Trey Young, though he is definitely in play on this slate. Kyrie's going to be out. D'Angelo, I'm assuming that he's not going to play. He is questionable. He's available to play in his first game in Minnesota. Um, I'm going to go with this slate, just kind of assuming that he's going to be out. Even if he's in, I'm not sure that that's the best spot. Going up against Toronto, slower paced team, good defensive team. So not the best spot for him either way. But we'll go down. Um, Spencer Dinwiddie had a decent game against Toronto. He's at 7,900, definitely in play with Kyrie out. Not a top pick for me, but going down a few hundred to Fred VanVleet. He is definitely on the radar right now. Kyle Lowry is questionable. I'm going into the slate looking just assuming that Lowry's going to miss, and VanVleet's going to be in my core as of now. Really good matchup against the fast-paced Minnesota team. He put a 41 against Brooklyn on Saturday, and he's in kind of the same spot here. No Lowry gives him a lot more usage on the floor. He's going to put up more shots, fast paced. So I like him as a play. Going down, Fox is in play going against the fast paced Milwaukee team. Definitely not prioritizing him, but he is in play. Donovan Mitchell, I want to talk about real briefly. So, 7,400. He's not really priced up back from his last game. He had a decent game against Houston. He's going up against Dallas, who's there's not going to be no Doncic in this game, so that means their point guard defense not going to be nearly as good. You saw Dallas give up a ton of fantasy points to Shabazz Napier and Ish Smith on the Wizards when they played them the other night. So their defense is down to the point guard position. Mike Conley may not play. We're going into the second half of a back-to-back for Utah. So if he doesn't play, Donovan Mitchell's going to see a lot more point guard play. So he's definitely viable in this spot. 7,400 is a reasonable price to pay for him. So I do like him in this spot. I mean, this slate is just chock full of solid point guard plays, and it's going to really depend on how things shake out with injuries and things like that going into Monday night. Malcolm Brogdon in play against a very shaky Brooklyn team. That Brooklyn gives a lot of fantasy points up to guards. Um, let's stop and talk about Eric Bledsoe for a second. I really like him in this tournament spot. In tournaments right now, for this spot going up against Sacramento. Sacramento not the fastest paced team, but I like playing guards against De'Aaron Fox. And Bledsoe is he's a solid pick. He's put up some solid numbers. Nothing special. Really staying around a little over 5x value for the last few slates, but I really like this spot against playing against Fox. Giannis is questionable, which would only bump up his usage. So, a really good play. I like him. He's probably going to go in with low ownership. If Giannis does play, I mean, I like him either way, but he's going to go in with a lot lower ownership if Giannis does play. So we'll see how that shakes out. Not too much going down here. Reggie Jackson's in play. If Derrick Rose is out, and it's looking like there's no real update. I'm assuming Derrick Rose is probably going to be out through All-Star break. This doesn't make any sense for Detroit to bring him back early. Just let him rest. That's how I'm looking at it. And then not really too much going down here. Nunn and Dragic are in play. They're kind of priced up, so don't have too much interest in them. And that's assuming Butler's out. If Butler is in, then they're kind of off the table. But going down, we see Mike Conley at 5,500. If he is playing, I do like him a lot in this spot. I'm not sure why DK has not priced him up. He looks like he's fully healthy. He doesn't have any time restrictions. He's played 30-plus minutes in the last 4 games. It really outperformed his salary. They did bump him up a little bit, but he's just had a good string of games in another good matchup. So I like him here a lot. But he's going out. I do want to talk about Terrence Davis. Terrence Davis, if Lowry sits, did get priced up $1,000 up to 4,800, but he's going to be in a good spot here, just like Van Vliet is. His price tag, I think his potential performance is going to exceed his price tag. I mean, he is north of a point per minute player when he gets significant minutes. So if he plays, 30, 32 minutes, he could put another 35-point DK point game up, which would be great at this price tag too. That's about as low as I see value going as real value. I mean, you could look at Clarkson. He had a good game Sunday night. He had, I think, 41 DK points against Houston in their win. But that's really as low as I see any kind of viable value going at point guard. A lot of point guard plays on the table tonight. So let's move on to shooting guard. Kind of the back end of that, there's not a whole lot of shooting guard plays. Shooting guard is not, it's kind of bare. It's good that a lot of the players have dual eligibility, point guard to shooting guard. So a lot of the stuff we've already talked about with Van Vliet and Mitchell. Buddy Hield is definitely in play tonight, going up against a fast-paced Milwaukee team. Gives up a lot of three-pointers. And looking at Hield's game log, he's been playing really well off the bench. He did get priced up at 6,600, which is the main reason he's not just a smash play right in this spot, but definitely on the table. Definitely has the potential to put up another big game just like he did against San Antonio. Going down the slate, we see a lot of the same players that we just talked about in the point guard position. Bogdanovic, kind of the same spot as Hield. He got priced down a little bit, had a really off game Saturday night against San Antonio. Not sure what happened. I don't think he was in foul trouble. He got he only had 24 minutes. So he might have been in foul trouble. I need to double check on that, but I really see the opportunity for him as a big bounce back game here, coming off not even off the bench. He's starting now, so definitely a possibility for a bounce back game here. And then nothing really. I mean, you could go to Bridges at 4,800, more of a tournament play, but he gets a ton of minutes like 34, 31, 42, 36 minutes in the last 4 games. So he's just very up and down with his production. Not really a cash game play, more of a tournament play, but on the table for that purpose. Joe Ingles, if Mike Conley misses, definitely an option there. He'll play some point guard against Dallas. Going down, Malik Beasley got priced up a good amount from 3,200 to 4,500, but he's definitely in play when he's on the floor. Significant minutes. He's right around point per minute player at minimum. So if he gets 30 DK points at this price tag, that's solid production. So he's definitely in play for some early value for Monday night. And then after that, not a whole lot. Hero, I would have some interest in him if he's starting. He got ruled out. He was out for Sunday night's game. I assume he's going to be out on a back-to-back. I don't see why they would bring him back for the back half with that foot injury, but definitely a possibility. Gary Harris will be a pump play. He's had a decent string of games, and he's going up against a San Antonio team that does give up some long shots. So he's in play, kind of more of a pump play, a tournament play on that end, but nothing really else going down the line at shooting guard. So we'll go to small forward. We talked about LeBron as an option. Chris Middleton in play as well. I don't love him unless Giannis is out. If Giannis is out, I love him as an option. He always brings a solid game to the table, and really outperforms his price tag when Giannis is out. Wiggins had a great game against the Lakers in his debut for the Warriors. I don't really see that as continuing. I think he's just such an up and down player. He had 5 steals in that game, which is one of the reasons that he really bumped up. He got 42.5 DK points. Take away, he's not going to get 5 steals every night. So I don't see him at 7,800 being really a viable option tonight. Going down, a guy I didn't talk about with in the point guard spot is Karis LeVert. He looks like he's fully healthy and he's getting his full run of minutes. He's not restricted at all. And if you remember last season when he was healthy, he had a great upside every time he stepped on the court. So the last 3 games, 33, 27, 32 minutes, 27 minutes in that blowout, he kind of lost some run. But if he's fully healthy, he could play 30, 33, 35 minutes. We love him in the spot. Not the greatest matchup, but if he's going to get that kind of run, he's talented enough to put up a lot of points. Looks like Draymond's going to play, so don't really have a whole lot of interest in him directly, but that affects the rest of the team. So Pascal's not going to play as many minutes as he did last game as when Draymond's out. Going down again, small forward, not typically not the best. Not a ton of options in this one. You could go to Duncan Robinson at 5,200. He has had a couple good games in the starting spot without Jimmy Butler in. I assume Butler's going to be out again. He's another one of those guys that I just kind of assume that he's going to be out until we get back from All-Star break. There's no reason to bring a guy that caliber back earlier than you have to. Miami's been actually playing pretty decently and going into a game against Golden State, which they should comfortably win. There's no reason to bring him back. So I do like Duncan Robinson in this spot. He's a good 3-point shooter. Golden State gives up a lot of threes, a lot of 3-point attempts and makes. So I do like him to continue his 30-plus DK point streak in this one. And then not too much down low. Derrick Jones Jr., he's going to get a bunch of minutes. Not super productive, so he's kind of hit or miss guy. That 47-point night little bit of an aberration, but he is going to get a good amount of minutes. And then there's just not really that much different going down here towards the bottom of the small forward pool. So we'll hop out. I'm sorry. Before we hop out to go to power forward, I do want to talk about Kent Bazemore. Bazemore has had a pretty decent string of games. Since he's gotten on to Sacramento. He's got 20 plus DK points in the last 2 games. His price tag really hasn't risen that much at 3,500. If you're looking for a punt play, he's going to get 25, 27 minutes in a fast-paced game against Milwaukee. Not the worst play, but if you're looking for some early value, that would be an option. I'm assuming that we get some good injury news that would replace this kind of play, but early on could provide some value. So with that, let's go over to power forward. Like I mentioned earlier, Giannis is questionable. So we'll have to definitely keep an eye on that. That's the number one piece of news, along with DeAndre Ayton, that we have to look at going into the slate. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that because that's going to affect a lot of things around this Milwaukee game. Anthony Davis is one guy I really want to talk about. He is probably my number one spend-up option on this slate. Great spot against Phoenix. The game should stay close, which will keep him on the floor, give him his full run of minutes, probably around 35, 36 minutes. And Phoenix just does not defend the big man well. So if Ayton's in, if Ayton's out, I don't know who's going to guard him. If they put Ayton on him, then who's going to guard McGee? If they drop Oubre on him, Davis is just going to overpower him. There's no one on that team that can guard him, so I can see him getting 6-7x on his price tag at 10-3, which is really a fair price tag for him on a normal slate in a normal matchup, and this is just a really, really strong matchup for him. Going down, Sabonis at 9,600. Good spot, just overpriced. I can't see paying 9,600 for Sabonis, especially his production lately, even in a good spot against Brooklyn. You see he's only approached 60 once in the last 6 games. It really not even come close to 50. So at this price tag, there's no real interest I have in him, although I love him as a player. Porzingis is going to be a solid play for me. He did lose some run against the Wizards, and it's an absolute smash spot, which is unfortunate because he was playing really well in the first half and then got into foul trouble. So, but he's just been killing it without Doncic while he's been injured. Absolutely crushing it. I expect a bounce back spot from him. So I'm almost certainly gonna jam Porzingis in the lineup alongside Anthony Davis, as long as we get enough value in here. Christian Wood, solid play as well. I like him going up against Charlotte. I'm assuming he's going to start again. Let's take a look at the depth chart here and see who's if we're going to get anyone back. Markieff Morris may be back. I think that's going to be the central point to see if he's going to be back, because that's going to pull some minutes away from Wood. I mean, either way, he's going to get 30 plus minutes on the slate in that game, and that would, even though he is priced up to 7,200, he's going to be a big piece of what they do both offensively and defensively. He's very integrated into the offense now, and kind of taking over the spot that Drummond had. So even at 7,200, I do like him in that spot. Bielitsa in play. He did get priced up at 6,000, but still a good play. He's been playing really well recently, getting the minutes. And like I mentioned earlier with Hield, Milwaukee gives up a ton of threes. Bielitsa just such a good three-point shooter, deep three-point shooter, that he's definitely in play in this matchup. But not too much else at this power forward position. Maybe Zeller starts in this game. If Zeller starts, I don't hate that at 4,800. Assuming Thon Maker starts, which, if Markieff Morris is back, then that kind of um, throws that into a little, throws that up in the air a little bit. Um, but if Thon Maker does start, he's terrible defensively, so Cody Zeller is a good kind of matchup for that. Really good point per minute player when he gets extended run. But even going down deeper, not too much available down low. I do want to talk about Juan Hernangomez. Um, Played well in his first uh, outing against the Clippers. 27 minutes, 23 DK points at minimum salary. They priced him up just a little bit, but still definitely in play. I remember last year he would get spot starts in Denver, and when he gets that extended run, he's a pretty good point per minute player. So even against not a great matchup in Toronto, but if he does start, that is another place that you can look for some value. But that's about it going at the power forward position. Let's hop over to center, and then top of the center spot is going to be Karl Anthony Towns at 10-5. There's only so much. I'm definitely going to try and jam Davis and Porzingis in the lineup. I do like Towns in the spot going up against Ibaka, but I can't see paying 10-5 when there are other, Anthony Davis is right there at 10-3, and he's not really gonna fit in that lineup. So not really on the table for me. Although he is in a good spot. Jokic too, also in a good spot, but same reason I don't see playing him this evening either. Ayton's up in the air, and we'll talk about kind of what that would mean in a second if he does miss. Go now. I'm already talking about Porzingis. Bam's in a decent spot. He did get priced up to 8,200, so I don't love that. Definitely in play though against a weak front court from Golden State. Going down. I've always talked about a lot of these guys. Holmes is going to be out again, so that opens up room for Harry Giles down low. We'll talk about him in the second for value. Jared Allen definitely in play at 5,400, kind of a mid-range gem going up against an Indiana team that does not play well against bigs. Both of these teams actually not very good against bigs, so we can really leverage that. A few underwhelming games, but and especially underwhelming game against Toronto, so I could see him definitely bouncing back, given he gets his minutes back up to where they were back a few games ago, in the high 20s, right around 30 minutes. Really could be in a big smash spot here. Going down to Miles Turner is the next guy I want to talk about. Miles had a great game against New Orleans, 35 points in 32 minutes. Brooklyn, like I said before, not good against bigs. I think they're bottom 5 in DK points versus opposing bigs. So Miles Turner at 5,100. He got priced up a little bit after the last game against New Orleans, but definitely could get 6-7x run on his price tag. And then we'll go into the value down at the bottom. Willie Cauley-Stein had a really solid game. He had, if it'll come up, 34.5 DK points in 25 minutes against Charlotte. Completely opposite story here. So he's priced up to 4,600 and going up against Rudy Gobert, who's just solid defensively. So I don't see WCS being in any lineups tonight. Going down deeper into value, I did want to talk about, there he is, Harry Giles. So if he starts tonight, that's gonna be some solid value. I assume he starts this evening and gets a good amount of run, 28 minutes, 24 DK points. I see him right around a point per minute player, maybe a little less, but he should get the same amount of run against Milwaukee. And then the last guy that I wanted to talk about is going to be Cheick Diallo. I assume he starts if Ayton misses. And even if Ayton doesn't miss, they're going to need his size down low to compete with Davis and McGee and Dwight Howard. And so I think he does get a good amount of run, whether Aiton is in and out, Aiton is in or out. But if Aiton is out, then he's going to be just the best value on this slate. Probably will be chalky, but it's the kind of chalk that you want to play, um, because there's it's almost unavoidable that he doesn't hit massive value on a $3,100 price tag. So, but I think that is it on this slate for centers, and that is it for the lineup. So, uh, if you if I missed someone, if I glossed over someone, hit me up in the comments. If you like this format better, let me know. If there's something different you want me to do, let me know. I'm looking at doing some FanDuel later this week and doing kind of a dual DK FanDuel kind of video. But anything like that, hit me up in the comments or follow me on Instagram. I don't really do Twitter that much anymore. So on Instagram at the DFS Picks, shoot me a message over there. But thanks for the listen. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get the alerts on when I drop new content, which should be daily this week. And then, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.